It's Monday morning. You're sitting at your desk, fresh, clear-headed, making great decisions. You look at your project calendar and you think, you know what? I'm going to tackle that strategic report that's been on my list. I'll spend Tuesday and Wednesday on it, get it done early, impress my manager. That's your cool brain, rational, far-sighted, decisive. By Tuesday at 2 p.m., something shifts. You're tired from meetings. An email came in that felt urgent. Your energy is different. And suddenly that strategic report doesn't feel as important. Maybe I'll start Wednesday or Friday. By Friday at 4 p.m., panic sets in. You pull an all-nighter. You deliver something mediocre. You beat yourself up. You promise Monday morning you that you'll never do this again. But Monday comes again, and you make the exact same promise. And Tuesday afternoon you sabotages it all over again. Today, we're talking about why willpower fails you every single time, and what actually works. Welcome to episode 2 of our deep dive into Predictably Irrational. I'm Marcus. Last week we talked about anchoring, how one arbitrary number in a salary negotiation can cascade through your entire career, costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars. We saw Alex and Jordan, same role, same company, but Jordan walked away with $12,000 more just by understanding the pattern. This week, we're tackling something that impacts your daily life even more directly: procrastination. Here's the thing. You've probably told yourself 100 times, I just need more discipline. I need to try harder. I need to care more about my goals. But Ariely's research shows that willpower is almost useless for solving procrastination. The real problem is something completely different. It's not about who you are. It's about when you are. And once you understand what state your brain is in, you can solve procrastination with one simple system that doesn't require any willpower at all. Let's get into it. Segment 1. The Jekyll-Hyde problem. Here's something you've probably noticed about yourself. You're not the same person all the time. Sunday evening, you're calm and clear-headed. You make great decisions. I'm going to start that project early. I'm going to hit the gym 3 times this week. I'm going to have that difficult conversation with my manager about the promotion I deserve. These are good decisions, thoughtful, strategic, long-term focused. Then Tuesday at 3 p.m. hits. You're tired, you've had back-to-back meetings, your inbox is exploding, and suddenly you're a completely different person. That project you were going to start early? I'll do it next week. That gym session? I'll go tomorrow. That conversation? Maybe after the next quarter, when things calm down. Sound familiar? Ariely calls this the Jekyll-Hyde problem. And here's what makes it predictably irrational. We consistently fail to recognize just how different we'll act when we're stressed, tired, or emotionally activated. In fact, his research shows something shocking. When people are calm and rational, in what Ariely calls the cool state, they dramatically underestimate how powerfully their hot state will override their decisions. The research that proves it. Ariely ran a series of studies where he asked people in a cool state to predict how they'd behave in a hot state when they were stressed, aroused, or emotionally activated. The gap was enormous. In their cool state, people predicted they'd make rational choices. In their hot state, they made completely different choices, often ones they regretted later. And when they returned to their cool state afterward, they were genuinely shocked at their own behavior. Here's the pattern. Your cool brain makes promises your hot brain won't keep. Your cool brain says, I'll work on that presentation this weekend. Your hot brain says, Netflix and procrastination sound way better right now. Your cool brain says, I'll have that difficult conversation tomorrow. Your hot brain says, that sounds uncomfortable. Let's avoid it. Here's the key insight. You're not weak. You're not undisciplined. You're predictably human. In your cool state, you make decisions that your hot state will sabotage every single time. This isn't a character flaw, it's a pattern, and patterns can be designed around. Segment 2. The problem with willpower. This is where most advice about procrastination completely misses the mark. The typical response is, you need more discipline. You need stronger willpower. You need to care more about your goals. Just do it. But Ariely's research reveals something different. Willpower isn't the answer. In fact, relying on willpower is the problem. Here's why. When you're in your hot state, stressed, tired, emotionally activated, your willpower is completely depleted. Your brain has limited resources. Decision-making is effort-intensive. Your hot state wants the opposite: immediate relief, immediate gratification, immediate escape. You can't willpower your way out of a hot state. It's like trying to use logic to convince yourself not to feel an emotion. It doesn't work. Your hot state is running the show, and willpower is no match. Think about your actual procrastination pattern. You know exactly what you should do. You have good intentions. You care about your goals. But when you sit down to work and you're stressed, suddenly checking Slack feels urgent. Scrolling LinkedIn feels productive. Reorganizing your desk feels necessary. Anything feels better than doing the hard work. That's not a willpower problem. That's a design problem. You're putting yourself in a situation where your hot state will inevitably take over, and then you're expecting willpower to save you. That's like standing in front of a vending machine when you're starving and expecting willpower to keep you from buying junk food. The setup guarantees the failure. Here's the predictable pattern. 1. Cool state you makes a plan. I'll start early. 2. Hot state you encounters stress and resistance. 3. You rely on willpower to push through. 4. Willpower fails because hot state emotions are stronger. 5. You procrastinate. 6. Cool state you returns and feels guilty. Why don't I have more discipline? And the cycle repeats. But here's what Ariely discovered. The problem isn't step 4, where willpower fails. The problem is step 1, where you made a plan that requires willpower in the first place. If your system depends on willpower to work, your system is broken. Here's what Ariely discovered actually works. Pre-commitment. Setting constraints before you enter your hot state. Instead of relying on your willpower when you're stressed and emotional, you make a decision in your cool state that removes the choice from your hot state. The classic research example. Ariely ran an experiment with his students on procrastination. He split them into 3 groups for a semester-long course with 3 major papers. Group 1. No deadlines. Total freedom. They could turn in all 3 papers any time before the end of the semester. Group 2. Set their own deadlines at the beginning of the semester. They chose specific dates for each paper and committed to them publicly. Group 3. Strict imposed deadlines set by Ariely, evenly spaced throughout the semester with no flexibility. The results. Group 1, the most freedom, had the worst results. Students procrastinated massively, rushed all 3 papers at the last minute, and submitted lower quality work. Group 3, the most constraint, produced the best results. Students started earlier, paced their work better, and delivered higher quality papers. But here's the most interesting finding. Group 2, who set their own deadlines in advance, produced results almost as good as Group 3. Why? Because by pre-committing in their cool state at the beginning of the semester, they removed the temptation to procrastinate when their hot state arrived mid-semester. When week 8 hit and they were stressed and wanted to delay the second paper, they couldn't. They'd already committed publicly. That commitment, made weeks earlier in a cool state, was now an external constraint their hot state couldn't easily override. How pre-commitment works in your career. The key is this: don't set goals in your hot state. Don't promise yourself, "I'll start early next time." That's willpower talk. That fails. Instead, in your cool state, right now while you're calm, impose constraints that will bind your future hot state. Example 1. External deadlines. Don't just tell yourself you'll finish a project early. Email your manager right now. "I'm delivering a draft of this project to you on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Now it's external. Now your hot state can't negotiate with it. Example 2. Social accountability. Don't promise yourself you'll work out. Schedule your gym sessions with a workout partner. Now you can't bail on yourself without also bailing on someone else. The social cost makes it harder for your hot state to procrastinate. Example 3. Remove temptations. Don't rely on willpower to ignore your phone during deep work. Give your phone to a colleague. Put it in your car. Lock it in a drawer. Make it physically difficult for your hot state to access the distraction. The critical principle: the constraint has to be 1. External, imposed from outside, not just internal motivation. 2. Difficult to break, has real consequences if you don't follow through. 3. Established in your cool state before the hot state arrives. When you finally sit down at work and stress hits, you don't face a willpower battle. You face a commitment you already made. I promised my manager a draft. I have someone waiting for me at the gym. My phone is literally locked in my car. That external constraint is far more powerful than any internal willpower. Why this changes everything? Ariely's research is clear on this. People who rely on external deadlines and pre-commitments are dramatically more productive and deliver better work than people trying to motivate themselves through willpower. This is the predictable pattern. In hot states, willpower fails. External constraints succeed. Every time. You're not fighting your nature. You're designing around it. Segment 4. The professional application. Let's bring this to your actual work life. Where are you procrastinating right now? Maybe it's a strategic project you keep saying you'll start, but never do. Maybe it's that presentation you need to prepare. Maybe it's the difficult conversation with a team member about their performance. Maybe it's updating your portfolio or resume. Maybe it's networking. "I'll reach out next week." Here's what you probably do. You tell yourself you'll do better. You build it up in your mind as this huge thing you need to force yourself to tackle. You promise yourself discipline. And then, when you finally try, your hot state arrives. Stress, resistance, avoidance. And you end up scrolling Twitter instead. Here's what you should do instead. The pre-commitment framework. Step 1. Identify the task you're avoiding. Be specific. Not work on the project, but write the first draft of the executive summary. Step 2. In your cool state, right now, while calm, make a public or semi-public commitment. Email your manager. "I'm delivering section 1 by Thursday at 2 p.m. Tell a colleague, "I'm presenting my initial findings to you on Friday morning." Post in your team Slack. Draft proposal ready for review by end of day Wednesday. Make it external. Make it public. Make it specific. Step 3. Remove the choice. Block time on your calendar with no flexibility. Schedule it like a client meeting, something you can't easily reschedule. Put deep work, project draft, do not disturb on your calendar from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Monday. Step 4. Remove temptations. If you procrastinate by checking email, close your email client. If you procrastinate by scrolling your phone, put your phone in another room. If you procrastinate by doing research on the internet, disconnect your Wi-Fi. Design the environment so your hot state has fewer escape routes. The real-world example. You have a strategic report due in 3 weeks. Your instinct is to start in a few days when things calm down. You'll probably delay until the last minute. Instead, do this right now in your cool state. Send this email to your manager. Hi, manager. For the Q1 strategy report, I want to make sure we have time for revisions. I'm going to send you a complete first draft by next Thursday, January 23rd at 3 p.m. I'm blocking Monday through Wednesday morning exclusively for this. Let me know if you need any adjustments to that timeline. You've just created 3 external constraints. When Monday arrives and your hot state shows up with stress and resistance, you can't back out. You promised. Your manager is expecting it. You've already told them the plan. That external commitment, made right now in your cool state, accomplishes what willpower never could. The procrastination chain breaks when you make commitments external, not internal. Set deadlines imposed by others or by public pre-commitment, not just self-imposed. Remove temptations and escape routes from your environment before you need willpower. Recognize that willpower is useless against hot state emotion. Design is everything. One more example. The networking one. You know you should network more. You keep saying, I'll reach out to people next week. That's cool state planning with no constraint. Instead, right now, open your calendar and schedule 3 networking outreach sessions, 30 minutes each, over the next 2 weeks. Set calendar reminders. Then, email a colleague. I'm committing to reaching out to 5 people in our industry each week. Would you be willing to check in with me Fridays to see how I did? Now you have external accountability. Your hot state next week can't just ignore it. Someone's checking in. Segment 5. Preview of Episode 3. So we've established that procrastination isn't about discipline. It's about design. External constraints beat willpower every time. Next week, we're exploring something equally powerful. The power of expectations. How your beliefs about what's possible literally shape your actual performance. Not just your mindset, but your results. We'll look at how a manager's expectations can determine whether an employee thrives or fails. How expensive wine actually tastes better than cheap wine, even when it's the same wine. And how to shift your own ceiling from what you think is possible to what's actually possible. It's one of Ariely's most transformative insights, and it has massive implications for your career growth. Segment 6. Your action point for this week. Here's your action point for this week. Identify one task you're procrastinating on. Make an external commitment about it today. Don't tell yourself you'll do better. Don't promise yourself discipline. Instead, tell someone else, your manager, your colleague, your accountability partner. Give them a specific date and deliverable. Here's the template. I'm committing to specific deliverable by specific date and time. I'm blocking specific time periods to work on this. Can I send it to you for quick feedback when it's done? That external commitment made right now in your cool state will do more for your productivity than a month of trying harder. And here's what I want you to notice. When your hot state arrives this week, when stress and resistance show up, you won't face a willpower battle. You'll face a commitment, a promise you made to someone else. That's so much easier to honor than trying to convince yourself to keep a promise to yourself. Cool state you is setting up hot state you for success. That's the design principle at work. The hot brain versus cool brain insight explains so much about why you struggle with procrastination. It's not that you're undisciplined. It's not that you don't care about your goals. It's that you're asking willpower to solve a problem that design can solve. You're trying to use a conscious decision, willpower, to overcome an emotional state. That fight was lost before it started. But the moment you shift to pre-commitment and external constraints, the entire game changes. Your hot state doesn't get to decide. Your cool state decided days ago. The path is already set. That's how predictably irrational humans actually change their behavior. Not by trying harder, by designing better. Thanks for listening to Book Takeaways for Professional Growth. I'm Marcus, and I'll see you next week for Episode 3, The Power of Expectations. Until then, make those external commitments. Design your way around procrastination. And remember, willpower is the weakest tool you have. System design is your superpower.